Did you draw that?
Yeah, I drew that. I'm gonna show it again. It's
Ooh,
a
nice.
drawing of
Oh,
it's a it's a drawing of the ideal, well, for me, ideal
did
death.
you draw that?
Yeah, I drew that. I'm gonna show it again.
We are live now, and I would like to welcome every single one of you to this Pens Down event. Sorry to cut off the conversation so abruptly. There's gonna be a few more people trickling in, but pretty much this collaborative writing workshop, how it's gonna go is I am going to introduce a world, a fictional world at Syllable, and it's the HELLMOUTH studio, and we're writing within the context of Halloween. And from that introduction, I am going to also give the prompt. I'm going to give the crowd 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes to ask me any questions about the world and how they perceive. I hope you came with a character. As I'm talking, think of a character as well. And then we'll write for about 40 minutes and I'll pull up a Google Doc, and it's a flash story. So it doesn't need to be 2,000 words, 3,000 words. The way it's gonna go is it can be 50 words to 500 words, could be to 1,000 words, how much you get to based on the prompt. And then we'll do a live read for whoever wants to share their readings at the end. And if you got the chance to sign up for the platform, we'll post the stories there. You'll post your story on the HELLMOUTH Studios group on the platform, and the writers who attend the event are gonna be able to give each other's feedback. And hopefully we'll decide like a track where to, if you have a revised copy, if you want to submit it to a magazine or a journal or publish it on the Syllable site. But the whole idea behind Syllable is really to get writers to write collaboratively and tell stories in a way that is meaningful and impactful. And we want to really bring writing to the modern world and get us kind of bringing our ideas together. So I'll start with, so my name is Fabrice, and I'm the founder of Syllable Studios. And the HELLMOUTH Studio concept idea is really, I was inspired by Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I think that would be a good inspiration for that. But I wanted to explore how can science fiction and horror as a genre can be merged together. And when you look at the HELLMOUTH Studio world, a lot of it is, it's 2050. So there's a lot of advanced technologies. And one of the biggest thing is that this is the largest Hollywood studio, Studio A, that has been built, the Hollywood largest lot. And it's built on top of a Hellmouth. And the basic premise, as if you got the chance to read on the website, is that there's evil demonic spirits that are taking over people's mind and consciousness, especially the execs, to bring about the end of the world. And right now, our specific prompt, and after the prompt, you can ask questions. We'll have a small little discussions around the world to get yourself acclimated, is one of the most beloved directors, Bob Durmont. He died unexpectedly, and he left a suicide note, which was the symbol of a star. And that was the only thing that he left. It was very unexpected. And in your character, I would say, if you've been thinking about your character, think of it as if the character has been either invited to work on a major film project, or the character is on set or is working within the confines of Studio A. And to give a little bit of element as well, is that your character is going to try to figure out what happened, because there's a lot of weird things happening in Studio A. There are random accidents. There are sometimes people disappear, but no one really talks about it. It's sort of like the unwritten rule and the context. So the scene that the flash that will be writing within your character is this major event where we find out that the beloved character, Bob Durmont, has killed himself. And that, excuse me if this is unfortunate. This is the supernatural horror. I know this is a sensitive topic, but I want all the writers here to react to this But I will, and so there's a lot of, in terms of the rules and the magical rules of the world, there is supernatural entities like such as witches, werewolves, magicians. There is a secret society as well among the executives. There's also an underground magical scene that's happening. Maybe some of your characters might be plugged into that as well. Oh, and there's also an artist class. So people that are sort of going in and they're working as production assistants or PAs and they're trying to make a living. But this news has really shocked Studio A, and people are really surprised of why he would do something like this, because this person was always positive, excited, and he was really revolutionary. And Bob Dermott is an African American, and he really paved the way for a lot of producers and artists. And he's around the age of 50, 55, so still very young. I will be quiet now, and maybe we could have a small discussion in terms of the comments, and I'll post the Google Doc. So we'll be writing from a Google Doc, and the Google Doc will have writer 1, writer 2, writer 3, and I'll like kind of assign based on the names that as we're having a discussion right now. Welcome.
Okay.
Any questions?
Hey, Fabrice.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, okay, good. So we're writing from the perspective of someone who, has just found out about his untimely death, right? And I guess just building a story around that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Got it.
Any specific questions? Bryn, Leela, Tim?
Any world conflicts that are going on at the moment? And I know that that's a big one, like the character thing, but what about like in the setting and things like that? It was a lot to take in from just somebody who hasn't been in the world. So.
No, absolutely. I think some of the major conflicts is that you have, so the major conflict is that there are forces that wants to take that wants to bring about the end of the world. And I think that's like the major conflict. So there are obviously a lot of people that do not agree with that. Perhaps Bob Dermott was one of the people that he was able to see what was happening and didn't agree with what was happening. Perhaps I'm not going to give a specific a specific definite thing on the world building, but I think there are forces that do not want this to happen. But sometimes it is almost impossible. It's almost like there's a fatal, like there's almost your kind of like there's a fatal aspect to life in the context of the supernatural horror. How does that sound to everyone?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, I posted the Google Doc on the actual chat. I will do a share screen and it will start. If there's any other questions. Okay, so let's see. Perfect.
Are we writing in the Google Doc itself or what?
Yes, you'll be writing it in the Google Doc itself, and then I'll be going through up and down. So we'll be able to see. So yeah, if you're writing directly under your name, the Google Doc. Try to make that clear. All right. And when I say pins down, so everyone, we stop writing and then we'll continue to the process. All right, begin.
All right.
Kat, thank you for joining. I will be posting the document there and in the prompt. So you'll be writing a flash from 50 words to 1,000 words to 500 words around that prompt. And you have to pick a character, and I will send you the link right now. Welcome, Gina. We are just starting. So I added your name on the writer 6 slot. So you'll see the prompt for the story. So you'll write a flash fiction and it'll be live. And I will post the link right now for you. So if you see at writer 6, so you'll be able to just write your flash based on the prompt. So you're writing Bob Dermott is an African-American executive within Studio A, and he improbably, unexpectedly passed away through suicide. And the characters are writing in terms of a reaction to that process. And you're right, you will write a flash around that context. And the suicide note is just an X. And there's a lot of talk around what's happening, what's not happening. If you have any questions, please type it on the chat and feel free to, I'll answer it.
Okay.
Welcome. All right, 3-minute warning until the pen's down, 3-minute warning. All right, pens down. You can stop where where it's at now. This has been really quite exciting reading everyone's story. Again, for everyone that joined us a little bit late, this is Syllable's Pens Down event where we get writers to write in one universe. We believe stories are connected to being human, and this is a way to really gain support to like put things down and connect. So I would like to welcome whoever wants. You don't have to do this, but I like to do a live reading of some of the flashes of the context. Maybe say we have about 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes to do this, and then I'll just do parting words. But Bryn, if you want to start, just say a little bit about your character, just briefly, and then you can start to the reading, if you'd like.
All right. So my character was made up on the fly. He is a cameraman of Studio A. I don't know if this would be worldly correct and within Hellmouth, but he is he understands a little bit of what Bob Dermott is doing, but he thought, like the special effects of, these things coming out of the Hellmouth were just, things that he would do on his camera. So yeah.
Super.
Here's him trying to do a centering exercise. Melkor,
Okay.
your phone is buzzing, Jesse said. They were in a dark room with television, with a flickering candle at its center. Don't ruin the moment, Jesse, he said. Centering themselves away from the demonic Studio A was far more important than anything going on in the outside world. He was certain he had silenced his phone. He shrugged. It wasn't the weirdest thing since he had started working on set with Bob Dermott. He was just a cameraman, after all. This meditation process was meant to flush the negative energy, push away the evil. Breathe in positive energy, breathe out evil, he thought to himself. He wouldn't be distracted by the phone call that somehow forced his phone to buzz. He kept his eyes closed. His meditation was unshaking. He could clear his mind, filling it with only positive thoughts. Do you really want to obsess over whatever's going on in other places? He asked her. I'm more concerned with centering myself at this moment. he could only assume that she was, once again, trying to calm herself. Wait. Yeah. It was quite cut that. But it was quite interesting how youth had difficulty with the idea of meditation. Yet he had mastered it through careful practice. Melkor, you really should look at your phone, Jessie said. Her footsteps echoed as she shot up from the mat they had set up in their secondary studio space. It wasn't far from Studio A. And with Jessie, his assistant, he had always come to expect her to overreact. Melkor, adjust the camera angle down a bit, she had said. No, the thing we are trying to get on camera will show up right there, he said, pointing at the spot where the camera was aimed. She sighed. But he had been right, of course. As a student from one of the universities in the countryside near Los Angeles that he didn't care to remember, it made sense that she'd be a little baffled by the culture in Studio A. At this point, his phone was still buzzing. Quite a large amount of time for the notification to go off. He could ignore it. If Jessie ceased her incessant suggestion that it was important. Listen, Jessie said, to me. Her voice came from right next to him. But she wouldn't dare get that close. She was at least a little further from him. Melkor, you need to open your eyes, Jessie said. Her voice came from the same spot he had figured she would be standing, actually. This time her words shook at an unnatural frequency. His eyes shut open, and all he could see around him was darkness and a body at the center of their room. It was an illusion, as had happened before, but this time it was Bob Dermot's body at the center. His phone sat beside. I don't know exactly where I was going.
I'm snapping my fingers. Thank you very much. Since in the sake of time, maybe just a few couple words about the character. If you want to read, great work, Bryn. This was really, I like the immersion and that for sure. Leela, if you want to read, but you feel free to pass.
Sure, I'm here. I'm just swallowing something. Okay. And you want to put me on this case? Why? Nathan barked into his phone. I support personal choice. I don't think there is a case here. You're also a good detective, Nate, the old fat man replied. And we suspect it might not have been personal choice. The usual family members whining that he wouldn't do it, or something more substantial. The note we found, a star written in blood. And Nathan rolled his eyes and took a drag of his evening whiskey. It was not Dermont's. He put the glass down. So we got a suspect? Kind of. Come on, boss. It's not human, nor any known animal. Lab is still working on it, but the DNA doesn't seem to make sense. And someone from the Department of Supernatural Relations showed up. The Department of what? If I say anything else, you'll need clearance. Nathan paused. Could the chief be out of his doggone mind? Where's the rest of this?
I really like that. Wow. Very good.
I wrote a whole bunch more. Where's the rest of it?
Maybe it was, I'm not sure. Maybe you use a different Google Doc, maybe potentially. You might have, yeah, that's the only one that, but yeah.
That's weird.
That is weird. Well, thank you, Leela. If you find it, let us know by the end, okay?
No, I just used this Google Doc, but I don't know, maybe my phone was weirding me out. But anyway, the rest of it would have been things like just this woman from the Department of Supernatural Relations explaining that, hey, demons exist and we have detected demonic activity under this building, and that have been 8 other cases with these notes found next to them. And Nathan is like struggling to believe that this is a thing, and he was like, demonic activity? I thought that this district was dysfunctional just because it has democratic leadership. And and at the end, this woman reveals that this has been going on for a while, and like it's a federal thing, and he wants and she wants him to, you know, go in Studio A and ask around a little bit,
Mhm.
and you know, just be a cop on this whole thing, and that's how far I got.
No, I love that. It is a bummer that I don't know what happened to the other part, but if you can, yeah. Well, at the end, I'll have a small announcement in terms of follow-ups and stuff, but I think that sounds really great.
Okay.
That was
Thank you.
awesome. That was really cool.
Very, very cool. I like how you took the world building part. Marcia, I don't see Marcia on the call, so I'm gonna skip hers and we'll go on to Tim.
Okay, my character is kind of a what you call it, kind of a not really involved in it. He's just kind of a innocent bystander, you might say. Okay. Skipjack pulled smoothly to the curb out of the flow of traffic streaming along Santa Monica Boulevard, let the crew of young ladies out in front of the club. The melange of legs and skirts and handbags and laughter and perfume swirling out of his EV and into the cool, crisp LA night. Saturday night in Hollywood, and it should be a good one. His phone dinged as the ladies dispersed, and he noticed the address for his next ride, Beverly Hills, like way the hell up there. He sighed. These rich folks were always such a pain in the ass. Luckily, he had remembered the charger for the latest iPhone 54 just released, as these people always demanded a damn charger. Skipjack had been driving Uber on these roads for near 30 years. And while some things had changed, some remained the same. Rich folks were going to show off their wealth no matter what. What's more, you could hardly get service all the way up there, and he was likely to lose reception. He paused before stepping on the accelerator to make sure he knew the address before he took off. Top of Hillcrest. Yup, guaranteed no service up that ways. He pulled off into traffic, past the skin jobs hustling on the sidewalks, the freaks with their bionic limbs and green hair. Couldn't tell which was a girl or a guy anymore. Couldn't tell who was even human. God damn, this city was getting crazier by the day. Well, never mind, he told himself, tuning in the radio to the oldie station. This is pretty funny. An old ditty from what was her name? Ariana Grande? That's right. Wonder whatever became of that old girl. He took a right at North Rexford, GPS directions be damned, and headed into the darkness of the suburban streets, quiet neighborhoods, huge houses, rich folks. He and the old lady were getting out of Inglewood this year for sure, heading out to the desert, Vegas ways, finally getting out to a place where a working man could have a life. The road climbed higher as his EV rolled soundlessly through the neighborhoods, farther, farther. Damn, where was this place? Where we go? Can you go down? There you go. The houses became fewer until there was nothing but dry hills shining white in the moonlight. Through the open window, he could hear a coyote howl. He tapped his phone to make sure it was working. All in order. Wait, just as expected, the signal gave out. Damn. He kept driving. He must be around here somewhere. But by now, even the streetlights gave out, and he followed the trail of his headlights through the darkness. It was getting eerie, and he had half a mind to cancel the ride. But no, he'd come this far, and these rich people, well, they could do bad things to an Uber driver, bad things to a man. Ahead, he caught a light shining. There it is. He sped up and finally arrived. The house was awe-inspiring. Massive white columns lit by floodlights. Huge lawn. Had to be a few stories tall at least. Damn, who lived here? He stopped in front of the driveway and pressed the button. Arrived. But of course, didn't matter. No signal. Checked the name. Some young lady. No one he knew. He waited and waited some more. No one arrived. He checked the app. Nothing. He sent a text. Are you coming? But it didn't go through. Nothing. He gazed up into the house. The windows were dark for the most part. His skin started to prickle. What was going on here? He grumbled to himself. God damn, now he was in a quandary. If he left and the people were waiting, well, they would be pissed for sure. But how much longer could he stay? He opened the door and got out, feeling his 50 years and the day's drive in his back and his knees. The cool LA night usually felt good on his skin, but tonight something was off. It felt clammy, weird. Was there a smell? He swallowed hard and pressed back his bad feelings. Walking slowly, alert to Dobermans and white guys in uniforms with guns, he walked up the long driveway to the house. Something rustled in the shrubs. Hello? Nothing. Hey, Did anyone call an Uber? I got a call here. The house remained silent in the dark. Hey, but his words dripped out of his mouth. He was breathless suddenly. Fuck this. He turned on his heels and strode back to his car, silent but lit up. Figures stood beside the car, silhouetted against the headlights. Who the hell was that? Hey, he called out. Did you call an Uber? He approached them. A man and a woman, pasty white skin, lanky builds, draped in black flowing garments. His heart pounded. Did you call an Uber? They stared at him with malicious grins. Behind him, the crack of a gun and brightness filled the sky. What the fuck was that? The woman grinned, and he could swear he saw fangs. Mr. Dermott won't be needing a ride, but we will. The end.
I love that. Very, very powerful. Really, really, I like the visuals. I like that. I feel like all the stories are sort of adding to a really rich context. For the sake of time, I would love to move with, thank you so much, Tim.
Sure, man, sure, go.
If you want to do a reading, feel free. Kat, I think you're muted if you'd like to do. But if not, we can move on to the next. Going once, going twice.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to finish my story. Sorry.
Oh no, it's a flash. So I think the flash is.
I got sidetracked by my mom needed my help with something. I didn't even get into the meat of the story yet. So yeah, sorry.
No worries. You wanna pass then?
Yeah, I'll pass.
Okay, great. Gina, if you're able to stay for a little bit, yeah, feel free to start speaking if you'd like to do a reading. Thank you, Kat.
Yeah, I'll start with. She found as she watched the news a suicide from an executive at that. These are accelerating at breakneck speed. Come over here, Henry, Stella whispered. It's happened again. Her partner found as he walked over to the buzzing light of the TV screen where another death had been reported with chilling clinical precision. Police sirens could be heard in the background of the A shiver ran up Stella's spine. Something wasn't right. I think that it's true, she whispered to Henry, her voice glowing. That demons are. Panic grew inside of her. It was too surreal, and yet she couldn't find any other explanation. Hey, what did I say? Was it just myth created by the government? He ran the hand down her shoulder and she shrugged it off. Said, no, how can you call those sightings fake? The evidence. People are going mad. An executive killed himself just now. He was one of the most successful ones, and now the voice came out in a terrified breath. Now he's gone, too. People were dwindling her. It was hard to ignore something since and it would be hard to explain the spontaneous fires and mysterious disappearances with glowing eyes at them. She shivered again as she wrapped a blanket around her. I hate this. I don't know what to do. Marie looked at her in concern and held up a mug of tea. Hey, we aren't in any danger now, right? Stella looked down as her heart thudded. Not right now, we aren't. After Henry had gone to bed, Stella wrapped herself in a jacket and headed out. She decided to go to Studio A, where it was all reported to happen. An hour's drive from her home, she hoped to glad that the sound of the gas igniting would be too loud and wake Henry. She stomped on the gas, headed out. The streets were silent, and as she steered across the street, tires making audible noises against it. Red stoplights flashed, and it felt like an eternity before she reached her destination. She shouldn't be here. She didn't care. Silently parking her car, Stella stepped out and looked up at the nurse. This was it, the reported HELLMOUTH. Oh boy. She snuck close to the building and tried to get a view of any possible entrance. Studio A was reported to have a lot of security, but it was strangely vague, silent as the rest of the city on her drive. Oh boy, oh boy. On the bright side, and less the chance of getting caught right away. Ah, there. A tiny little door on her right side. That would be her in. She had a lock. It should work, right? It was all she had anyway. She hadn't really done this before. What would have to do? Heart pounding, she crept to the door and laid one. Complete silence.
Wow, thank you. That was really powerful. I think all of these are great. Thank you so much. This was wow. Really like the imagery there. Rosemary, do you want to do a reading of what you were able to do, or? I don't know if your audio is working. Yes, she was having, you were having audio problems. But so this concludes the Syllable Pins Down event. And I want to thank every single one of you for attending this event. And in terms of the next steps, what we have on our platform, we have a platform, and what I would like to invite the writers who can and who want to continue the conversation on the HELLMOUTH Studios at syllable.com, and you'll be able to get feedback and share thoughts around the stories, and we'll figure out ways that we can explore publications. If you want to be published in a Syllable site, or even later on if you want to write a larger piece. But thank you again. We do these every month, and so next month will be a different world. And oh yeah, Tim is saying to post the rest of the story. But yeah, so welcome. So I appreciate everyone being here. So we'll continue the conversation online, and this happens every month. So we'll look at a different world next month. And we also have weekly studio time where we critique each other's writing that comes out from the world. So yeah, if you have any questions, please don't be afraid to reach